Hello TIS students, this is Mr. Crook, and we're going to go over comparing numbers today, lesson number 9 in your workbook. We're going to start off by writing two numbers on the board, number 34 and 28. We want to compare these two numbers and see which number is greater than the other number. So the best way for us to do that is to grab our place value blocks. And each of these blocks represent a 10th place. This one block is 10 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Each block has 10 blocks. So I have 10, 20, 30. So in the 10th place, in the number 34, we have 3 blocks. For the 28, how many blocks do you think we have? For the 10th place, we have 2. We have 10, 20. So which one is more? Is 2 more or 3 more? You can plainly see that 3 is more. So 34 is greater than 28. We had 3 here, we had 2 here. And the greater than, the opening and the greater than box goes to the higher number. So we're going to try another number. We're going to move on to 24 and 26. We're going to do the same thing we did before. Now 24 and 26. Now which one is greater? This is a little harder because the numbers are almost the same. So when we're doing the 10th place blocks, we take 10th place right here. This is your 1's place, and this is your 10th place. So we're doing the 10th places. The first number, 24, has 2 10th place blocks. So there's 10 here, 10 here. That equals 20. But this time, the number 26 also has 2 10th place blocks. We have 10 here, 10 here. That makes 20. So can you tell which one is greater by looking at these two? You can't tell them from the 10th place blocks, so we move over to the 1's place. 1 has 4 and 1 has 6. 6 is greater than 4, so 26 is greater than 24. And we always have a while opening of the greater than symbol open towards the bigger number. So we'll move on to the next number. The next number is a really large number, so we're going to put 400 and 200. Just like before, we can compare which number is greater by looking at either the 1s, the 10s, or the 100s. Since the 1s and the 10 places are the same, we'll just look at the hundreds. We have 4 here, and we have 2 there. So if there were 400 place blocks, it would look something like this. And there were 200 place blocks, it would look like that. So which one is more? When you put them next to each other, you can see which one is clearly more. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 here, 2 here. So there's more blocks on this side. So 400 is greater than 200. The opening always goes to the greater number in a symbol. Next, we're going to use the symbols to compare numbers. We're going to model 2 numbers, and I'll write them on the board. 258 and 345. Now to compare these numbers, we want to start with the hundreds place like we did before on the last section we just did. So we look here, this one has 2, this one has 3. So we have 200 place blocks. And on this side we have 300 place blocks. We could go over to the 10 place to see which one is more, or the ones, but there's no need to, because one is clearly more than the other, so one has to be greater. So we see over here we have 1, 2, 3 blocks, and over here we have 1, 2 blocks. So which one is greater? 1 or 2? 2 or 3, sorry. So we have 3 blocks is greater. So remember, the opening goes towards the higher number. Now on page 75, which looks like this in your workbook, is use place values to compare numbers. Example 1, we're going to do exactly that. We're going to use place values to compare two numbers. So we start off by writing the two numbers on the board. It's 471, and the other number is 468. Okay, first we compare the 100 place value to see which one is more. We have a 4 for 471, and we have a 4 for 468. But an easier way to do is to write it out right beside next to each other so you can see and you can compare side by side to see which numbers is higher and which numbers are lower. So we start by drawing a chart. And 1 will say hundreds on the chart. 2 will say tens, and 1 will say ones. So we have 100, tens, and ones on the chart. So we go ahead and write one of the numbers in the boxes. 471. Now we take the second number and we write it below the first number. 468. So which one number do you think is higher? 471 or 468? First we can just go to our hundreds box and look and see if the numbers, one is higher than the other. In this case, both numbers are 4, so they're the same. So we can't tell which number is higher by looking at the hundreds box, 100 place. So now we go to the 10 place to see which one is higher. And we immediately, one number is higher. We see we have 7 and we have 6. 7 is higher than 6. So we know right then that 471 is greater than 468. So we put the greater sign with the small n going to the smaller number, which is 468. And the opening, the mouth that's opening, goes to the greater number, which is 471. So 471 is greater than 468. Okay, we're going to move on and compare two more numbers. We have 604 and 609. So we're going to write it down. 604 and 609. So we can do the same thing we did before to compare the two. We draw our chart. Hundreds in one box, tens in another, and ones and one. So we start off by writing one number at the top, 604. So we wrote 604 at the top, and we take the second number and we write it right beneath the other number, 609. Okay, so we start off by looking at the 100 place value, and we see that both boxes have 6. So that's not telling us much. Both boxes are the same. They're equal to each other. So we can't decide which number is higher based off of those two numbers. So we move over to the 10 spot, and we see the 10 place. They both have 0. So we can't really tell anything by that either because they're the same. So far, both numbers are the same, so we can't tell which one is higher. So we move over to the ones box, and we see that in the ones place, there is a higher number in one box than the other box. So we circle the higher number, and one box has all numbers circled. That's your higher number. So we have 9 is higher than 4, so that tells you that 609 is greater than 604. Remember, the opening for the greater than symbol goes over to the larger number. So the larger mouth opening goes to the larger number. 609 is greater than 604, or in this case, 604 is less than 609. That was example 2 in your workbook. Compare the numbers, use greater than, equal, or less to. Okay, we're going to try it on your own first to see, but I wanted to do one more problem first before you try it on your own, because sometimes it doesn't work out where it's greater than or less than. So just suppose you have 200, that's one number, and you have 200 as another number. Which one is greater? Which one is less? So we start off by writing the chart again. Hundreds, tens, and ones. In your hundreds section, you start by putting 2, tens, 0, and 1, 0. You put your first number in, and you have 200. The second number is also 2, 0, 0. So which number is greater, which number is less? We compare the two, and we see, when you look in the 100 place, 2 and 2 are the same. We go over to the 10 place because we can't tell which one is greater. By looking at those place values, we go over to tens and we see that they both have 0. So far we have the same numbers for hundreds and tens, so we can't tell which one is greater, which one is less. So we go over to the ones place. We look at the ones place and we see they also have zeros. Both numbers have 0. So both numbers are 200, and they're all the same numbers. So when they're the same numbers and you can't decide which one is greater or less than, it's equal to. It's equal is the same. All numbers are the same, and neither one is greater or less than. So you make sure you put the equal to sign. And that's your lesson for today. You can go to the try page on page 77 and go to 78 and do the practice page. And I'll see you again soon. Thank you.